Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can see me?
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
praise, praise be Jesus. Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
or
this is a
someone.
great exercise.
Yeah,
I'm looking very much forward to this. This is exciting.
I think it'd be a lot
I
of
did,
fun. Yeah,
yeah, I did my list last night, and I think there's going to be some surprises for you.
yeah,
Some,
I think it'll be good. Some of them were pretty easy,
yeah,
and
yeah,
some were like, especially on bands that have changed their sound quite a lot.
hmm
But I think that's part of the fun. Um, and I'd really love to incorporate this going forward as an option, as a hot seat option, making it more like pick 10 of these and say, okay, you gotta pick one song to convince a new listener to try out this band. I think that'll be a fun option, you know.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked my first track, but also if we had an alternate, I put an alternate track
Oh,
as
nice.
well.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did that with each band. I don't know what kind of how you wanted to let this flow or what
No,
you're.
that's fine. I think we just go down the list. We talk about our track and we give our rationale for it, and I think that'll be
Okay.
fine. Do you have a Roku or anything like that?
I have Roku on my one TV in the garage,
Yeah,
so I do have
yeah.
Roku.
Um, yeah, there's so much free content on Roku,
Yeah.
that that's what I love about Roku. They also and I love Tubi. I get the Tubi
hmm
channel on Roku. Tubi just added Speed Racer.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so it's like it's really, really good stuff. But there's so much free content out there now. It's like there's no point in like really having to pay for much
Yeah,
anymore, you know.
it's so great to get back with some of those things, nostalgia, the things we
Hmm.
grew up with, and watching those old, like the thing from Another World's been on Tubi for. I never get
Yeah.
tired. We never get tired of that, right? So it's like,
Yep, I
yeah.
put it on a lot. I fall asleep to on Pluto TV. They have like the Addams Family channel, like 24 hours of the Addams Family. I'll often sleep to that or Andy Griffith, or even now
Yeah, yeah, me
they
too.
even bought Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood channel. So I'm like, oh, that's I can go to sleep like that, or Bob Ross. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking sleep like a baby. Paint me some happy fucking trees, Bob. Oh, all right, man. Well, hey, let's get on with our thing and a little taste of our own medicine. How's that?
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, this is Rickard Sternquist with Jag Panzer, and you are watching Heavy Metal Horror.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, this is ChopTop, and I hope you can stay seated because this is a
And you are watching and listening to Heavy
heavy.
Metal Horror. Kitties, tonight we've got we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna give ourselves a taste of our own medicine. That's right. We are taking the hot seat that we one of the games we like to play with our guests, where we give them a list of bands and we have them pick their favorite album by that band. But we're going to do something a little different than that. What we're doing is this is called the hot seat one shot. We're going to go down this list and you're saying, okay, you've got one song. You get to pick one song from this group to convince someone who's never heard about this band to give them a try. Okay, one song. So that makes it kind of challenging. Okay, what one song are you gonna pick to try to convince
Very
someone to
challenging.
give the band a listen? So, but I think it's gonna be kind of fun. I like this whole idea of a taste of our own medicine. So I thought, we should we're not near as exciting as some of our guests, but here we are. Um, all right. Well, Chop, let's begin with our first band on our hot seat list was Black Sabbath. So, would you like to begin? What one song would you give, or would you tell someone to listen to get them to try to listen to Black Sabbath?
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. I selected War Pigs. I think the incredible drumming by Bill Ward. I think there's some dynamic and excellent shift changes in there. Tony Iommi soloing, of course. The iconic lyrics written by Geezer Butler that still transcend time to this day. I think that yes, that's very representative of what you're going to get with Sabbath overall and their sound. Of course, there's many different eras. I love all eras. Um, if there was an alternate, I would say to give people, the Ronnie James Dio era, Heaven and Hell.
Mm.
I think Heaven and Hell has a lot of those same aspects. And yeah, and Ronnie's voice, my God, lyricism and Tony's guitar work. What can you say? I mean, he's a master of riffing for a reason, and he's my idol on guitar. So, yeah, War Pigs by Sabbath.
All right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That was my pick as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I'm like the eras. To me, there are only two eras of Dio or of Sabbath. I'm not the fan of the other eras as much as you
Mhm.
are. I can't. I have to go back and listen to the Tony Martin albums. It just is so far removed from Black Sabbath that the what I grew up in love with. But yeah, War Pigs for every reason you said. It's like quintessential Sabbath. This
Yeah.
embodies everything that Sabbath was when in its power. I didn't do a list of alternatives, but if I did, it would probably be the Mob Rules. It would be that one
Oh,
for
very
me.
close.
Yeah,
I thought about that one as well as an
yeah,
alternate.
because I'm like, it's just such a fucking ripper, like, oh my
Yeah,
God, it's a heavy song. But yeah, War Pigs just embodies everything, the Sabbath. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's metal, it's that sludgy thing, it's pertinent, and
yeah,
everything was just firing on all cylinders. It is like one of the most absolute perfect Black Sabbath songs. So. All right.
would
Well, so
agree.
maybe we'll go back and forth instead of you always going first and me always second.
Okay.
We'll go back and forth. So next one is Judas Priest. I'll go first this time. If I
Yeah.
had one song to pick to give to someone to try out Judas Priest, it would be Painkiller. I love Painkiller. It's a great album,
Mhm.
but this I think represents it's an invigorated um, Judas Priest because they got the new drummer. And we showcased this new drummer with that very great intro, which is just
Yeah.
an awesome intro. It's just kind of like when Nico McBrain joined Iron Maiden, the first track on Peace of Mind was that
Yeah.
great drum intro to We're Eagles there. It's like, ooh, what is this? Painkiller
Right.
has that too. It's like, oh, that screeching guitar intro, and that heavy fucking riff. And Rob Halford, I don't think has ever sounded better. I mean, he hits all the notes. And it's just, it's really awesome. Judas Priest, it's got that balls to the wall kind of thing. Um, and it just keeps on going. And I love watching people's reactions to Painkiller because they're not expecting, to hear
Right.
anything. Yeah, Halford, I mean, just age has taken its toll on his voice and like no slam against him. He's one of the greatest, most iconic voices in rock and roll, but dude, the man's been singing for 50 fucking years. You got to cut him some slack. Of course,
Yeah.
he's not going to be able to sing like he did when he was 25. It's not going to happen.
Mhm.
But I think this was a reinvigorated Priest. I have not listened to their new album. I hear it's really good, but
Really
this to me, Painkiller is just this is the one song that I think if they like this one, they'll be pulled in.
nice. Very good choice. I'm going to go a little bit older.
Hmm.
I'm going to pick the epic Victim of Changes.
Oh, hmm.
I think that guitar intro, it's got this kind of it's got a groove to it with it's through the rhythm tracks on guitar. KK and Glenn Tipton are just amazing solo work in that. And my God, there's that slow down section, and Rob comes back and hits you with that vocal line, vocal melody, and it just got everything. I think that if you're going to introduce somebody to it just tells me, it says right here is where you need to start because it has those iconic moments. And for me, yeah, uh, I did pick an alternate. I'd say if somebody else want to start off with something else, Beyond the Realms of Death.
Hmm.
I think because for me, that I believe I've read many places that they compare that to almost like Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Like this is their epic stairway,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it has everything in it as well. Beautiful, beautiful guitar work, incredible melody, and it's just epic in feel and nature, and it's really emotionally transcending. So, yeah, but Victim of Changes for me.
All right.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so we're on to Halloween. What is your one pick from Halloween?
I'm gonna go with Halloween, their song. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, what did Montag pick? I wonder. People are going to go, "Hey, did you guys get together before the show?" Like, spoiler alert, I also picked Halloween.
Yes, great choice, Montag. Uh,
No,
so,
well done, Chop Chop.
thank you. But, uh, but no, I think Halloween epitomizes everything you want. I mean, it's what, like a 13-minute song,
Yeah.
but it has the slow parts, it has the dramatic parts, it has incredible twin leads, it has the faster parts, and that's pretty much Halloween in a nutshell. I mean, it transcends a lot of what their kind of power metal is from Germany, and I think they're pretty much the pioneers, in my opinion, of power metal. Even going back to Walls of Jericho, which I think is an underrated gem of an album. But yeah, if anybody wants to try out, get a taste of a little bit of everything with Halloween, Halloween
Mhm.
is the song to go to. An alternate pick I would choose would have been, say, start out with "I Want Out."
Okay.
That single. So, but yeah, Halloween by Halloween. So,
Yeah,
and we already know
Halloween's
Montag's
I
choice.
know.
So,
Yes, yes, Halloween. Halloween's one of those bands that has different sounds as well, and I think I like the fact that they have these really epics like The Keeper of the Seven Keys, and but they
yeah,
also have like those weird albums with like Pink Bubbles and whatever that's called.
big bubbles go ape. Yeah,
yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Seriously, who got that? Um, but they definitely have that power metal sound, and I don't like everything they've done, but I do like the
right.
band. And yes, for everything you said, I mean, this is a little taste of indicative of their sound. Like if you like the things that you hear in this song, you're probably gonna like most of what they do because this embodies who they are as a band, as a concept. This is the kind of stuff that they're just gonna do. So yeah, I don't have much to add for it because you were so eloquent in doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so um okay, I will move to the Scorpions then, and I will go
Yeah,
first for the Scorpions. My song of choice, it's not the obvious. I go with Blackout. Yeah, I particularly like this on the Scorpions live. That was really the first album I'd heard from them. It was at some friend's house playing D&D back in the 80s, and everyone knew the song Rock You Like a Hurricane. But I thought
it's
Blackout,
probably a worldwide live album, I believe.
Worldwide Live, yes, that was it,
Yeah,
which is a good album. It's a good
good
live
album.
album, you know?
Yeah,
And Scorpions, while a little stiff in concert, a little stiff live because they were very choreographed, like with their steps and their moves. Because they got out of step and they were looking at each other like, oh no, where do I put my foot? I'm like, just fucking relax, man. Have fun on stage. But you could
yeah,
tell they were presenting a very choreographed show for their audience. And but Blackout to me it sounds like okay, this is there's some Scorpions music that I just really can't stand, like Winds of Change and those ballads that
uh,
are just so terrible. Um, but Blackout has that heavy riffing that it's memorable. Scorpions have a very distinct sound, and the way Klaus Meine sings, it's a very nasally kind of there's a whine to his voice that again, it's definitive. It's what makes Scorpions. It's part of the sound, and I think Blackout just kind of carries that. Like, okay, yeah, this song, if you dig what's going on in this song, you're gonna want to listen to more Scorpions. So, Blackout.
awesome, man. I'm gonna go with the Scorpions. Again, older choices, maybe surprising, but I'm gonna pick Entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
thought
that's
you'd pick
epic.
the Zoo because I know you love that song.
Yeah, I do love that song, but
Yeah,
um, after hearing it so many years,
you
it's gonna.
got a little burnout. I get it.
But in trance, I think encapsulates everything magical about Klaus Mein's vocals. The melody is just haunting. It's intriguing. The guitar works beautiful in there. Um, and I think it has a scope on about it has a little bit of everything that you kind of recognize in other songs, maybe Holiday and some other stuff as you go forward and go into 80s period. So and Trance for me is my choice. An alternate would have been Will Burn the Sky from Taken by
Mm,
Force.
okay.
Um, I know I'm going with older thing, but man, I'll tell you, Will Burn the Sky, another beautiful
Older
song.
Scorpions
It's
sounds,
almost like their
yeah,
disco kind of, the
right,
video's
right.
hilarious with Klaus dance under, but um, yeah, it's just another one that I would, if I had introduced people, say start out with this era,
Yeah.
go forward then, because you're probably going to find something you like
The
each
older
era.
Scorpions sound so much different than the later Scorpions. It's just
Yes,
they're like two different
agreed.
bands. Because I'd never
Absolutely.
really gotten into their stuff because I'm not a huge Scorpions fan. I know the big
Hmm.
songs. I saw them at the Monsters of Rock tour, and I said it was fine. I mean, they're a competent band. It's just it's not my thing necessarily.
Yeah.
It's like people who like Motley Crue, like, well, great. I enjoyed them for a couple years, but it's not a band I'd want to go see. I feel like I'd walk away feeling like I got Hep C.
Well,
I'd,
especially now because you got, Vince Neil's in his third trimester and yeah,
oh,
so
he's actually dropped a ton of weight. I saw
has
some
he?
more recent, yeah. So he's on
Thank
a
you,
kick, and
Vince. Finally.
I don't know if he's singing any better, but he has to. I mean, he's in better shape, so he's got to. But
Good, good.
yeah, I mean, hey, I can't fault the guy for letting go. Like you've made millions of dollars. You're just
Right.
chillaxing and you want to eat some fucking hot dogs. I get it, man. But when you can't sing, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I do like all the videos of people putting up the lip sync, like all the words that he's saying. They're the made up words. Like, no, it's exactly what it sounds like.
It
So
does.
yeah.
It
So
does.
all right.
Dude,
Yeah. Okay, for the Beatles, Joe, or Chop Top rather. What is the one song you would pick? Here's another band that has many eras. Hard to pick one. What would you pick?
you're gonna be upset with me on this one. I take a pass. I take a pass on the Beatles.
No, no,
Not
no, no,
yeah,
pass.
let me explain. Because as I do respect them, and they were absolutely uh the forerunners of the British invasion and very important to rock and roll history. I just could never get into them.
I don't care if you get
Uh,
into them. Just pick a fucking song, man.
I'll throwing out help. There you go.
There you go.
Uh,
It's a great
there
song.
you go. Damn it.
No, it's
Um,
fine.
but I do appreciate.
Hmm.
It's weirder. I appreciate the songs and when they became solo artists
Okay.
better, like George Harrison, "While My Guitar Gently Weeps,"
Yeah.
"Imagine" by John Lennon,
Hmm.
a lot of stuff maybe by McCartney or Wings. We
Hmm.
did, So I do appreciate maybe the solo era stuff better overall than the Beatles music, which
Okay.
is I know it's weird and it's
No, it's
going to the
fine. I know
hardcore.
Dreadbull always hated the Beatles. He just can't stand them.
I'm a
Uh,
I'm a
yeah.
uh, I'm a Rolling Stones man. You always have to debate you're Stones or Beatles, or you could be both. But for me, it was always Stones. I think their style had a little bit more sleaze and grit and something more guitar that
Well,
I
it
was
was blues oriented. It was all blues. They were borrowing from
right.
American blues, right? No, I get it. I like the
Mhm.
Beatles. Always have. I like the different eras. I was felt really bad for them. They were the first band that, like one of the last shows they played was at Shea Stadium in New York, and they
Oh
didn't
yeah,
have sound systems then. They were playing through the PA at the actual stadium. I mean, those speakers are shit, all
yeah,
tinny, and they said the crowd was so loud they couldn't hear themselves playing. They didn't have monitors.
right,
It was because of that bands came up afterwards like, we need a larger PA. We need to project more sound, and we need to have something on the stage so that we can hear ourselves play over the screaming throngs of fans. But
right,
that drove them into becoming a band that simply did studio albums. They couldn't go out. They couldn't like go to hotels because the hotels would be flooded with people. They couldn't travel. They just could not get a moment's peace. And so I feel bad for them.
true.
But my Beatles pick is Tomorrow Never Knows from Revolver, which I really like because it's a dark album. And Tomorrow Never Knows is really psychedelic and kind of trippy. It's not indicative of the Beatles, but to me, it's indicative of where they were at. Like listening to Sergeant Pepper's. If you go to like Please Please Me or Love Me Do, that's a real simple kind of like really kind of very simple, innocent kind of songs. And by the time you get to Magical Mystery Tour, they're completely, in full on drug experimentation. And Tomorrow Never Knows is kind of the cusp of that. The first song that really shows this kind of experimental music that they're doing with like weird sounds and trippy kind of beats. And it's such a cool syncopated beat. If you ever get a chance to listen to it, just Tomorrow Never Knows. It's got
Okay.
this weird kind of like sitar sound in the beginning. Then this like Ringo Starr is the most overrated drummer in the world. Sue me. I don't think he's a good drummer. Um, he's the luckiest motherfucker in the planet. Like, oh, I get to hang out with you three very talented musicians. Okay, and he's competent at what he does, and he's done some interesting things. He's got some interesting things, like the drum beat on "Come Together." Or the fill is really cool. It's not that he's a shitty drummer; he's just not a good drummer. He did what needed to be done, but he's got a really awesome beat for this song. It's like one of the like. This is why I chose it because everyone is performing top notch here, and
Yeah.
so yeah, tomorrow never knows for
All
me.
right.
All right, so I go next for Rush. This was I was torn between two songs because they're both kind of my favorites, but I picked Red Barchetta. I love moving pictures, but Red Barchetta was a song that I played over and over and over and over again. You can ask Dreadbull. Um, I just could not get enough of the song. I love the fact that it's a science fiction story that's about a car, that the music sounds like what is going on in the song. Um, it was, when I was learning how to play drums, by the time I was a teenager, I was really wanting to play along with music. That's how I taught myself how to play. And this was one of the albums that I played along to religiously. And I just love this album. And Red Barchetta stands out to me as like the single best track on this album. For it embodies Rush of this era. There, so if my alternate would have been Xanadu on this one, because that
Ooh,
is an epic song that
good.
it just really showcases Rush's musicianship. And again, Neil Peart's writing, again, we're talking fantasy stories or literary references, and it's just a beautiful long song. So there's my choice for Rush, Red Barchetta.
Excellent. Okay, for Rush, my choice is Subdivisions. Uh, I am never tired of that song. I could listen to that every damn day for the rest of my life. I think the lyrical heft, lyrical content is still very prevalent and still applies to a lot of things today. Again, almost shows how transcendent Peart's lyrics were and what a writer he was. Um, I just love the melody of it. I love the use of the synths with it. It's just, yeah, it just sends me. I love that song. If I had an alternate to encapsulate everything about Rush, 2112, the entire epic,
Wow.
just
All right.
hearing. Yeah. So yeah, sort of in lines with like you picked as you had an alternate with Xanadu.
Hmm.
Montag kind of encapsulates everything, that essence of Rush
Yeah.
across the sci-fi kind of aspects and the lyrical compositions and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. Uh, Another alternate, I think, for me would have been The Fountain of Lamneth. I know Caress of Steel gets lambasted, but I love that album.
Great album.
It is. It's one of my favorite albums, and I know they said people don't like that. I'm like, I love Crest of Steel. There's just
Mhm.
something about that album that just reminds me of summer, and that song, "The Fountain of Lamneth." I mean, it is. There's some agony on that song, and beauty, but that like, yeah, I should have picked Fountain of Lamneth. But they've done so much. There's so much more than that early era.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it, man.
Oh no, no going back now.
Oh
You
no,
made
going
the
back now. No, no, I made my pick. I made my pick.
but excellent though. If you yeah, you came the Crust of Steel, such an underrated gem
It
for
really
sure.
is. I love it.
So,
So excellent. Okay.
um,
Yeah, Subdivisions, I kind of figured you would because I know how much you love that song. And so yeah, I know how meaningful it is to you. So okay, so now we're at Opeth. What are you gonna pick with Opeth? Another band that has a lot of different eras and even some schisms in fandom, like the ones who got on board early don't some of them don't like what they're doing now. And I'm like, why not? They're making some of the best music they've ever made.
and
Um,
I might be one of those fans.
Oh, you cocksucker. So no.
Well, no, I'll preface this and say that you introduced me to Opeth. I
You're
had no
welcome.
idea, and and um, I was on board right away. And then after the years, probably after Watershed,
Hmm.
for some reason, I just fell off. I stopped listening.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I need to go back and give it a real, honest
Yes.
listen
Yes, you
to their
do.
later materials.
Hmm.
So, but if I had to choose an album, or my favorite Opeth album, not listening to the more recent stuff, it'd be off Ghost Reveries, and it's The Bane of the Hounds.
Oh yeah.
I love the tandem Hammond organ with
Yeah.
the guitar melody intertwined.
Hmm.
I think it's epic in scope. Michael Eckerfeld sounds amazing on that. The guitar works, of course, amazing. Yeah, the Bane of the Hounds. If I had an alternate going even older, Demon of the Fall, I
Great
put on there.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, Bane of the Hounds for me is, man, for me. Of course, we're looking at older school Opeth, but
Yeah. Well, Ghost Reveries is a great album. And it's I saw them on that tour. Um, and that they opened up with Bang of the Hounds. And actually my pick is from Ghost Reveries as well.
really
Yeah,
cool.
Harlequin Forest. Um,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, I love that song. And I think it showcases everything that Opeth is. You got the death metal growl vocals, you got the clean vocals, you got that melodic heavy riffs that are very intense and great riffs, and then you get the slow parts that are like symphonic almost and quiet. So you showcase the range of the band in one song, and that's one thing I love about Opeth. Every song's like a musical journey. um but yeah, that was a great show, great tour. I'd love to see them again. They're coming around back to Cleveland.
Yeah,
uh
so that.
but it's like, oh, I can't afford $120 for a ticket. I'm sorry. I
Holy
love.
shit.
Yeah, I know.
Mm,
And
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, and
Great
but
choice, though, my friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think, they have really significantly changed their style because they don't do any more death metal vocals, and they've gotten more progressive and like melodic and jazzy almost. But every album's different. Like I love Pale Communion. It is such a great album. Um, Sorceress. It took a while to grow on me. It really did, especially that opening track. It sounds so ugly and dissonant. I'm like, oh, what is what are you guys doing? But then I got into it, I'm like, okay, this is fucking heavy. Okay, I get it. So no, I get it. It's hard to say there. So very nice.
All
All
right.
right. Okay, so now Dream Theater. Yet another band that has, it's progressive melodic metal band that we all love. They have become a band that gets like more and more complex, it seems. I've not listened to the last couple Dream Theater albums. I just haven't. I kind of not lost interest, but I have other things that I've listened to instead. I didn't listen to their big opera, the two album opera.
Oh God,
I
don't
haven't
bother.
listened to the last I haven't listened to their last album. So I'm a little outdated, but this I think is from one of their strongest albums. This is from Scenes from a Memory. I have the band song Home. I think is embodies the storytelling of Dream Theater, the classical structuring of their music, where you can hear the themes of and they get that great like Middle Eastern sound in the beginning and that heavy riffing. Then the absurdly complex and wonderful musical interlude kind of toward the end, where everyone's
Oh
just
yeah.
going off and like fucking jamming and going crazy. It's like, Dream Theater guys, we'd love to have you on the show. Come on. Yeah, so Home just is like, okay, yeah. Home, if you don't like this, you're not going to like Dream Theater because everything they
Yeah.
do is in this one track.
I, you know, I almost went the easy way. I almost put Pull Me Under, but I actually had Home on my list as well. For everything that you said, Montag.
Hmm.
Yeah, it just best represents one of the, well, we had our slugfest on it between Operation Mindcrime and it. It's just
Yeah.
one of the premier concept albums in progressive metal or just rock and roll, period. So, yeah, everything you said about it. You don't like this, you're not going to like anything else. Chance they do.
Yeah.
The other alternate I had was interesting, The Glass Prison.
Okay. Yeah.
That drum work by Portnoy in that,
Yeah. I just
the
watched a video
the
of
the
him on Drumeo.
frenetic guitar work by Petrucci in it. It's
Hmm.
just, yeah, so incredible. Oh, I watched the video. Did you watch the one of him? He
Playing,
did Tool.
yeah. He playing,
Yeah.
no, I'm playing this on Drumeo. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
His playthroughs. Yeah. And I like the fact that he's not like, he's going gray and he's just letting it all grow gray. I love that.
Yep.
He's not trying to cover up his age. Like, nope, I've earned this. I'm earning my fucking gray hair. You
Right
know,
on.
I think the last time, well, we saw Dream Theater when they opened for Maiden at Blossom. I think we were with Dread
Yeah.
came. Would you there? Yeah, that was on the oh, the what tour was that? Like
Who was that?
it was the where they did Seventh Son and Power Slave and Somewhere in
Oh,
Time kind of all together. Somewhere
yeah,
Back in
somewhere
Time.
back on tour.
Yes,
Somewhere back
something
on.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
that was my favorite show of all time. But yeah,
that was great. So yeah. Um, well, that's
those are my
interesting.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Interesting because the Iron Maiden is the next band on the list
Oh,
that we're
yeah.
going to talk
Damn
about.
you,
So,
Montag, my favorite band of all time. Okay.
so what is your pick? The one song that you're going to play to somebody, say, if you don't like this, you're not going to like Maiden. Falling
I'm gonna
down.
yeah. I'm gonna go with the rhyme of the ancient mariner.
Uh-huh.
I think if that encapsulates you got the gallop feel, you got the up tempo stuff, you got the mid tempo stuff, you got the slow down section. Bruce singing his fucking ass off, especially when it comes out of the mid, slow down section thing, breaks back into it, and then just rips to end the song. So yeah, this encapsulates anything. Yeah, if I had introduced somebody, say, listen to Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, you like this, you're gonna like pretty much anything they've done. The alternate, and I know this will probably be on people's number one, would be Hallowed Be Thy Name, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that's an easy route,
Mm-hmm.
and because it is an iconic song, but because, and we've talked about it before, Montag, it's we've had fatigue. We've heard it and heard it
Yeah.
and heard it. So,
Yep.
but I go back, and Rhyme is such a personally, no, Power Slave, excuse me, an album. It came out such a personally significant album to me because I just discovered, like the year before, with, of course, Peace of Mind.
Mm-hmm.
This came out, the excitement was just swelling and over, it was just unbelievable. The band was absolutely at their peak. And then you do a year long tour, and then you come out with Live After Death,
Yeah.
the ultimate live album. I mean,
Yeah.
so right in that period is a real sweet spot for me, being
Mm-hmm.
a fan and being my favorite band. But yeah, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Yeah, I agree. Live After Death is probably the greatest live album of all time.
Yeah.
I also love their Rock and Rio
Um,
from like
yes,
2000.
fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their Made in England could have been better had the sound not been so shitty. It
Yeah,
was a real
shitty.
tinny sound, but a great fucking set.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the fuck happened there, but remaster it, gentlemen. Bring us out something that doesn't sound so
Please,
tinny.
your
Um,
number one fan.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Chop, my one song would be Rhyme of the Ancient Manor for the same reasons.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
it is I as Moonchild would have been my alternate. And I thought, oh, but what about the Trooper? What about Flight of Icarus? I'm like, yeah, but Moonchild almost won, like, because that's also a ripper. But
Oh
Rhyme
yeah,
Nature Manor embodies everything. You got the great storytelling and the incredible bass work. Steve Harris is great,
yeah.
bass work, and just the storytelling aspect of the songs. I love the quiet, and then the solo is just so good.
Oh,
Um, and it's an epic. It's a magnificent epic. The galloping beat, it's storytelling, everything that Maiden embodies. Maiden, I think what I like about Maiden, you know, is um, in this song, and
absolutely.
that's So there's not much more to add to it. We both,
Of
we both have
course.
have jizzed our pants to
You're
Maiden for
welcome.
years.
Great to.
Yes, no, I get it. I get it.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, Rhyme the Ancient Manor. Um,
Great.
okay. Testament is our next track, next band. If I were to pick one Testament song, again, this is a band that has maintained its thrash roots all along, but they seem to get heavier and heavier as they go. Just better as a band. I mean, Testament's phenomenal. I would pick Low. It
I
is a
probably knew you were
departure.
going to pick that
Yeah, I
because
love
that's
that album.
that's your favorite album. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
departure in a way because of the Chuck Billy's singing, but there is something about Testament. This is not a super fast tempo song like some of their stuff is, but it is a driving, heavy song that just like punches you in the gut. Once it gets in there, it's like the tempo, like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, and it's catchy, like and but you hear enough of the style to hear the heaviness of the guitars, the melodic solos, um, and if you like this, I think you're gonna say, oh, let me try some other things because there's a world of difference between Low and The Gathering, Dave Lombardo's
Mhm.
album, to like the what was the one, the
Demonic.
Satanic Demonic. I mean, this band has a lot of different sounds, so it's hard to pick one. But yeah, Low for me.
Great choice. Um, that being said, this is my favorite thrash metal band of all time. So this was really difficult for me, but I'm going old school. I'm going Disciples of the Watch off the
Mm,
New Order.
hmm
When I first got that on cassette, and this is a little bit of nostalgia for me, and that song came, I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Right about Stephen King, Children of the Corn. I'm like, I'm in, with thrash metal. Uh, man, just it's a fucking ripper. Chuck Billy sound is one of his best moments as well on vocals. Man, I love everything about that song. So yeah, Disciples of the Watch. If as an alternate, if I'd introduce anybody to it, it would be off the Gathering, and it's DNR. I'm like, fuck me, Dave Lombardo.
All right.
Holy shit, right? What a ripper.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah, I would
phenomenal.
have to say, yeah, unbelievable. But yeah, that's my choice. Disciples.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting how Dave Lombardo is now playing with Mr. Bungle,
Yeah.
which is an interesting choice. It's like seems
He's
like way
based
too
in all
much.
these different projects. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
and I like that he's doing
I
different things.
appreciate it. That, yeah.
Yeah, it's like seems like way too much power for that band. But I
Yeah.
I like that he's having fun,
Yeah.
so I get it. Okay, now your pick, Ron, you're also one of your favorite thrash bands or heavy band,
Yes.
Overkill. What is your one track from Overkill to convince me to listen? Chop Top.
This would be a Wrecking Crew
Oh,
off Taking Over.
mhm.
I think this has just the right amount of. They're a very unique sounding band, Overkill. Bobby the Blitz Ellsworth, the singer, has a very unique style and still kicking it to this day. I mean, he still sounds fantastic and fresh, but he's very identifiable. You're like, oh yeah, I hear that voice. That's Blitz.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, the bass work on there by Dee Verney.
Yeah,
Um,
Bernie's a great bass player.
yeah,
Yeah, and like he's the guy you want if you're going to be in a street fight. He's the guy you want on your side. He just looks like
fuck yeah,
he just fucking wipe someone out.
yeah, it's cut your throat. So
Yeah.
yeah, and the chorus is very catchy. And it's hook. I mean, yeah, you just want a beginning thing to hear something. It'd be Wrecking Crew. Although an alternate, I would say Damned
Oh
off of
yeah.
Killbox 13 is
Yeah.
really fucking catchy and
Yes.
heavy and yeah,
Yeah.
underrated album. So
Damned
yeah,
was almost my choice because I love that song. I also
yeah,
went through Love off of Relics. I like that album too, but I don't like the audio, the production on that song. I'm
yeah.
trying to take into consideration it's a little tinny, a little like mid-rangey. I pick It Lives. Because yeah, I know it get old school. We got an older song, but I just think that it is one of those ones where, yes, it embodies the kind of the spirit of the band, the kind of atmospheric moodiness of the band. It's heavy. It's got a groove. Um, it's not the like fastest, thrashiest song, but it's one of those ones where like Thunderhead, like it drives, and it makes you just want to fucking get in the groove. And if you
Yeah,
like
man.
that because there's so much about Overkill. They're not just straight thrash. They are a groove heavy band. And
Yeah,
if you really like that kind of groove, like Damned is a straightforward just a pusher.
yeah.
It's a driving song, but that's their groove a lot of times. And so if you like that about Overkill, you're gonna want to listen to it more. So yeah, um, it lives for me.
Great choice.
All right. So on to Queensryche. Again, here's another band that not only different eras, but different singers. Their last album wasn't good. They've done 3 albums now with the Tort. I know I listened to this last album, like it was
You didn't
completely
like that?
forgettable. Not their newest one. No, I thought it was forgettable. The
Oh,
second one I
yeah.
thought was really good. I didn't want to
Okay.
like it because I'm still a fan of Jeff Tate, and then their first one with Latort I thought was kind of weak, but their second one was great. I'm like, oh, this is a really good album. Their third one, I listened to it once, like, it just didn't do anything for me. But
Okay.
I'm happy to give it another listen to. But this is from old
You should.
Queensryche.
Oh.
I will. I'll give it a listen to. Why not? Um, this is an early song, but to me, this when you think of Queensryche, you've got great musicianships, dual lead guitar, phenomenal heavy drumming, but then you also want to have showcase Jeff Tate's range. And I think a few songs stand out to me immediately. Like let's showcase range as "Take Hold of the Flame." and we are going way back in the day when they're on their second album. But to me, that it still stands the test of time. 40 years later, it is still a powerhouse, a kick to the nuts. And I love watching reactions to people when
Yeah.
Jeff hits that high E.
Oh,
It's like, what? Like, yes.
yeah.
Yes. It's like watching reactions to Ginger. It's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, it's a great song. It's fun. It's one of those ones. It's driving. It showcases that kind of prog heaviness that Queensryche embodied. And again, they've really their sounds have changed dramatically from album to album. It's
Yeah.
not just eras. Like they are a band that like likes to change things up. And I follow them on their journey. And some things have worked out and some things not so much. Like some albums have been kind of like, kind of thin. Like Here in the Now Frontier and like, it's been okay. Some songs are okay, but um but anyway, Take Hold of the Flame is the one I would say if you like this, you're probably going to like this band.
And Montag's choice is Chop Top's choice also. Everything he said, Take Hold of the Flame is just, yeah, man. I mean, how can you beat that? You got to introduce somebody, because once we first heard it, we were introduced to Queensryche. That's what we were like, what the fuck is this sound?
Yeah.
And absolutely everything I agree with everything you said. An alternate would have been Eyes of a Stranger.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
because
would be
that
another one.
Mindcrime was the very first album I'd heard of theirs. I had never heard of Queensryche before. It was actually one of my residents when I was in college, an undergrad. I was a resident advisor and was one of my residents. He knew I was into metal and stuff. He's like, "Hey, you ever heard of these bands?" And he gave me a copy. He gave me a cassette of Operation Mindcrime and a cassette of Them by King Diamond. And I'm like, "No, who is what? Where have I been?" Um, and Diamond took a little while to grow on me. Those high falsettos, like.
Well,
But yeah, I'm like, okay. But once I latched on, like, no. So that was great. So I don't remember your name, dude, because it's been forever. But thank you. Thank you. Uh well, look at us. We're like twinsies picking
right?
all these songs
Twinkies.
together. And
Yeah.
how cute is that? So okay.
Can't get this much cuteness anywhere else on YouTube.
That's
So enjoy
yeah,
it, guys.
right. That's right. We're gonna have to start using age defying filters pretty soon. Okay, so the next band is Anthrax. We're about halfway through our list, almost halfway through our list. So, Anthrax, what would be the one song you'd pick from Anthrax?
Among the Living. I think it's an iconic album. It was a landmark album for the band. Still considered probably the best in their catalog. I'd argue I like a lot of different albums by this band.
Hmm.
Um, but Charlie Benante's drumming on that song alone,
Yeah,
the frenetic pacing with the guitar riffing on that.
criminally
Uh,
underrated drummer.
oh my God. Way
Yes.
he's handling even the Vinnie Paul stuff with the Pantera
Yeah.
stuff is unbelievable. I
Yeah.
mean, he can play anything.
Yeah.
So, and I know he plays guitar as well. He's a major songwriter in the band. Comes up with a lot of their iconic songs, and yeah, I have a lot of love for this album and that song in particular. Now, I'm going to give a little love for an alternate song. I would say for John Bush era, "Room for One More" off
Oh,
"Sound of
okay.
White Noise."
Oh, okay.
I think that is a
Yeah.
absolute fucking burner and heavy as fuck, and
Yeah.
which sounds tremendous. And it was a fresh addition to the band at the time. And I just love John Bush's vocals, anyways,
Yeah,
Armored Saint or otherwise. So,
yeah, we saw them on when John Bush. We saw them on that yeah, it was
Stop
Anthrax.
442.
Yeah, Stomp for Two tour, right.
Yeah.
It was because it was
Misfits,
Misfits,
the World Series of
Anthrax,
Metal,
or yeah,
Cannibal Corpse.
Cannibal Corpse, Anthrax, or Anthrax, Cannibal Corpse, and Misfits, I think, or something like
Yeah,
those three played that same night. Misfits was the headliner, and we were tired, but like, okay, let's just give it a try. When they brought out the drum set with all these big spikes over, like, oh, we are fucking staying for
we're
that.
staying.
That one guy jumped on the stage and like the stage manager like picked him up by the throat and threw him off the stage. He was still trying to dance. Um, yeah, my pick, I almost picked Among the Living, but it's from that same album because I think it's a brilliant album. Indians. I
I
love
almost
that
picked
track.
that. I almost, the same guy. Great minds think alike,
That's
my
right.
friend. Yeah.
And then there are ours, which also think alike. Right. Yeah, Indians has what I love so much about it. It also it discusses a socially relevant topic, which they like to get into without taking necessarily a political stance necessarily in their music. They're not like a political band like Rage Against the Machine. I
Yeah.
generally don't like political bands. It's like just shut the fuck up and play a song. I just generally don't.
Agreed.
It's not just not. I just don't care about it.
Yeah.
I'd rather be like Dolly Parton. Dolly, please come on our show. We'd love you. Um, just like, look, of course we have opinions, but I'm an entertainer. That's what I do. So Indians does bring up the point of the plight of Native Americans, and we see that also in like Testament. The Trail of Tears. So and what I love so much is that break where it slows the tempo down when the war dance part. It's like you hit
Right.
this slows the tempo down into a halftime. Oh my God, that's so fucking heavy. You
So
know?
heavy.
Yeah, I'm like, oh fuck. And that's why I chose that one, because as good of a thrash song as Among the Living is, Indians has that tempo changes that say, okay, now the band can do this too, and we can write about these things. So yeah, that's
Excellent.
funny. Yeah, Indians. All right. So next is Megadeth. I think we're probably I don't know. I you probably
Might be
know
a
where
little
I'm
different,
it might
Jason.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know where I'm going. I'm going with Holy Wars, The Punishment Due.
I
I
knew you
love
would.
Rust in Peace. To me, it's their best album. Um some of their stuff, they just dwindle. And I haven't listened to the last couple of Megadeth albums, so I have no idea if they're any good or not. I just don't.
Good.
So it's just one of those bands that has been pushed into the wayside with the glut of new bands out there and new stuff to listen to, that it's just like it's not that I don't care. It's like no, but I can't listen to everything all the time. So, but
Right.
Holy Wars has everything that embodies what makes Megadeth great. It's it's not so much the message, but the music. How many fucking tempo changes are there going to be and time changes in this song? 20, I don't know, but it
Oh,
keeps on
unbelievable.
changing. You're bringing this kind of Middle Eastern kind of this kind of Middle Eastern sound, and the solos just go on and on. It's like Hangar 18, just trading solos back and forth. It becomes utterly deliciously masturbatory, but Holy Wars really just tears it off a new one. So I love this song with this album. So there, Holy Wars.
Um, I'm going on nostalgia for me, how I got introduced to the band. And it was through it's Peace Sells, but who's buying? That iconic, bass riff opening up and it's squealing guitars at the beginning, the intro solo. I love the lyrics in that song. Um, I love absolutely. Then it changes tempo. After the first solo, it gets in a faster sped up section, and it's a real burner. And I think it showcases a lot of different things about Megadeth and their styles, who they are. However, that being said, I almost chose Holy Wars for everything that you said as well, because my God, the changes in that,
Yeah,
the guitar trade offs and everything.
they were at their pinnacle right there. They were at the pinnacle of
Right.
prowess. Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah,
Yeah. So, but yeah, Peace Sells for me for a lot of it nostalgic reasons. But
yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. All right, our next band is Slayer. What one song I'm gonna take a hazard a guess that we've probably picked the same song here. So what
maybe
is maybe I don't know what is your pick?
I chose Hell Awaits.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I,
Yes.
for me, it's the intro. It scares the fucking shit out of you,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yep. Oh wait. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a fucking heavy riff.
heavy fucking riff.
We saw them
Uh,
on that tour. We saw them at Clash of the
yeah,
Titans.
like a
That's what they
green
opened with.
demon. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome.
and then yeah, it's just to me it epitomizes everything. And I love a little bit of every Slayer album, really,
Yeah.
except maybe there's a
The last
couple.
couple albums were pretty weak because it was all the Kerry King show.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if I had an alternate, I says has a lot of different things. Is Seasons in the Abyss
Oh, okay.
soundtrack. So
Interesting, because that's a
I didn't
slow
go for
tempoed
the
song.
yeah, yeah,
You didn't go
but
for the
I like
obvious.
that kind of Egyptian almost kind of guitar work, haunting
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff Hanneman's work in there in the intro,
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
nice.
yeah. So yeah, two choices that were maybe not the typical, but
Right.
those were mine.
No, that's good. I mean, I went right down the middle with the Hanneman, Angel of Death. Because like that embodies Slayer to me in a way that if you can only get one song, because um I really love God Hates Us All, I love that album. I think it's Disciple is a phenomenal
Oh, phenomenal
song,
song.
like, yeah, but there's like to embody what Slayer is in one track. It's like, okay, this is brutal. It's fast. It's just like nothing you've ever heard before. It's just gonna rip your face right off.
That
Yeah, but
scream by Araya. I mean,
yeah,
like,
yeah, it's just insane. And then that big double bass fill, kind of toward the end, But yeah, I love watching people react to that, or Rain and Blood.
yeah,
My mom even likes Rain and Blood.
Rachel.
Raining Blood. Yeah, when she was recovering here from her broken leg, I got her watching these things, and she was digging Raining Blood. Oh, I like the guitars on that. This song.
It's
Really,
great.
Mom? Cool. What's
Love you,
that one
Mama
band?
Jessica.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Um, I
Um,
almost, I almost Montag almost went with At Dawn They Sleep as well for
oh
that
yeah.
drum breakdown with Lombardo.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
fuck me.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
another, yeah, they played that when we saw them on the God Hates Us All
hmm
tour. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
them playing that. Yeah, they played some Chemical Warfare. Yeah, they played some really good stuff there.
yeah,
That was a great show.
great show.
All right. Now we're into you wanted the best and you got the best. We, we are doing Kiss. And Kiss is another band that has a lot of eras. Their early era is the strongest era. Their first six albums to me
Absolutely
encapsulate why I liked Kiss as a 10-year-old.
agreed.
I mean, it's definitely a 10-year-old, a pre-adolescent boy's fantasy. The cover of Destroyer is like one of the, I mean, that was on my number one best album of cover of all time. It is like a fucking great cover, like,
Absolutely.
yeah. And that's where I picked this from. The first track, Detroit Rock City. It embodies Kiss and everything about Kiss that I like. I couldn't pick anything from other tracks. There's so many bad Kiss songs to pick from, as you well know. I didn't want to
Yeah.
pick a ballad. And there are just some albums that are just really pretty awful. But but it was between this one or I Stole Your Love, would have been another one, because I really like that song. Um, and as bad as it is, I love Come On and Love Me. I think the lyrics are just laughable,
It's fucking great.
but it's a great song because, like, it's catchy. But yeah, for me, Detroit
Yeah,
Rock City is enough
yeah.
to kind of get, if the dual lead, the lead guitar, the solos are really great. And if you like this, then you're going to be willing to give those first six albums a try. So Detroit Rock City.
I'm right in the same boat with you. Another one we
Magic. Yeah,
Boris, gotta get
it's
the
right.
first. Uh,
Folgers, Magic.
and boy, yeah, I mean, I was struggling between like yourself, man. I Stole Your Love. I could have put Shout It Out Loud in there, but yeah, I agree. And that
Love
so
Gun would have been a great one
yeah,
too.
Love
Yeah.
Gun, but that soloing in there, it's
Hmm.
iconic solo with Ace. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just it's ear candy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. If you like this, chances are you're gonna like those first six albums. So
Yeah. Yeah. They had some issues with the sound. Like Hotter Than Hell's a great album, but just sounds so muddy. Dress to Kill is a great album, but it sounds so tinny. It's like you got to find a little mid range. At least this album, Bob Ezrin comes in, does something much better with the sound of this. I think Love Gun's even a better sounding album than this, but
I almost chose woo, 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 got to choose. But I because I love Hotter Than Hell. I almost
yeah.
picked a track off that actually. I
Parasite would
almost
have been
picked,
great too, but it's not indicative
yeah,
of Kiss. That's just
right.
almost too heavy for Kiss.
Yeah, really
Like
is.
that's why because when we saw Anthrax, they covered it. The John
Yeah.
Bush, that's what they covered that. Because it's a great song. I love Parasite. I keep on trying to get, with getting Dreadful, like listen to Parasite. Listen to like War Machine or something like that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, but Detroit Rock City embodies Kiss every bit as much as Rock and Roll All Night. You know, yeah. So I get it.
That's a song though I never need to hear ever again. Rock and roll.
I like to
Right.
rock all night and part of every day. Yes. All right. So Alice
Oh.
in Chains is next. We've got about a dozen more or so to go through. Or cranking through this. Alice in Chains. This is a hard band to pick because they have a lot of good songs. What do you pick?
I picked Rain When I Die off Dirt
Oh.
album.
Hmm.
I love that sludgy bass kind of intro. Love how it can you kind of just, you know, kind of grooves along. That fucking chorus, yeah, the notes that Lane hits in that, uh, Cantrell's playing the riff. It just embodies a lot of the spirit of Alice in Chains, and I think that was their pinnacle. That was with Dirt,
Hmm.
unquestionably for me. Even though I like the latter stuff as well, but as an alternate, I picked Nutshell
Oh,
because
okay.
it's just an emotionally gut wrenching song, but yet you hear Lane's range like no other time on that. He really just he sends you with that song, and yeah. So, but Rain When I Die. If I had to say, hey, listen to this. This embodies Alice in Chains. You like this? You're probably gonna like the entire Dirt album, if
Yeah,
not more.
Dirt is the album,
Yeah,
yeah, I've only listened to their last album one time. I don't even know any of the tracks from it, like, Rainy or Fog or something.
yeah,
It's like I don't even remember anything from it. Um, but mine is also from Dirt. It's the last track, Wood.
okay,
I love that. I love that heavy bass line coming in,
yeah,
and that really kind of syncopated drum beat with it, and it's got that haunting vocal performance by Lane Staley, you know. He just I mean, nothing wrong against a new singer. He does his own thing.
yeah,
And I'm glad that the band's still making music. It's a different Alice in Chains. I think, as they indicated with their Black Gives Way to Blue. It's just a different. I miss that heaviness. I miss
yeah,
Lane Staley's addiction that's, coloring the band's lyrics. Um,
yeah,
but at the same time, you know, yeah, bands got to move on and do their thing. But yeah,
yeah. I just miss Lane like everybody else does.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was just such a good singer. It's
Yeah,
disappointing, that people fall into the throes of addiction like that. It's very sad, that they can't get themselves free. But yeah, Wood.
great
Wood
choice,
is,
man.
yeah, it's such a good album. Okay, the next band on our hot seat list is Iced Earth. And Iced Earth's another progressive, melodic, heavy band in the realms of like Iron Maiden. I think it's a heavier version of Iron Maiden.
Mhm.
And I remember, I think the first album I ever listened to from them was their Alive in Athens, which was phenomenal.
Not on my album.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
doesn't even sound like it's live. Like, when you listen to Live After Death, you get this sense that you are listening to the band play live in a stadium. This doesn't even sound live in a way that it sounds so clean. But on that album, Dante's Inferno, I just love that song, especially those big breaks toward the end with the fast double bass, the staccato stuff. Bum 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 bum.
oh yeah,
It's like, oh wait, fuck, these guys are just shredding it. Yeah, Dante's Inferno covers the majestic, the songwriting, and I love the story of Dante's Inferno anyway. So you see the fact that they're writing about like literature, and it's the sense of darkness. And again, the super tight melodies and dually guitars, the heaviness of the vocals, just the band at their peak of prowess. So yeah, Dante's Inferno.
great choice. I'm going to go with Burning Times.
Oh, okay.
I think for me, it doesn't carry near the range, uh, different musical progressions and everything going on, time changes with Dante's, but Burning Times is just if you want a taste of standard iced earth, what you're getting, here it is. It's in your face. Barlow was probably their best singer.
Yeah, but
And
I like Barlow.
I
He
mean,
sounds a lot like Paul Stanley in a way. There's some Paul Stanleyness to his voice, but I also
yeah,
love the stuff that Ripper Owens did.
oh, absolutely, not taken
Great.
away, but
Yeah, nope.
Barlow was just so iconic with that band
Yeah,
and so many
yeah,
albums and so much time. But
yeah.
yeah, Burning Times, that riff, and it's a fun riff to play on guitar. It's pretty simple actually. But yeah, I would give that. But as an alternative, I would say because it's a little different for them, is "I Died for You."
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's their ballad. Yeah.
so
Okay.
yeah, but I'd say, but Burning Times is a good because it just shows you most of their songs are going to be consistent with this kind of style with
Sure.
everything. Dante's is that's their epic.
I think
That's
it's
what
an
they're known.
epic. Yeah, it's an epic. And
Yeah,
I love that they have epic concept albums too.
Mhm.
like the, about Spawn. Here's a whole record about Spawn. Here's a whole record about monsters. It's like,
Yeah, horror
okay,
show. Yeah.
yeah, horror show. And here's one about wars and things. It's like that's awesome. I love that. But
Mhm.
speaking of simple, repetitive guitar riffs, our next
Ah,
band is Motley Crue. What was your choice, Mick Mars?
well, my choice is going back nostalgia for me. Excuse me. Is the first Crew album I got is "Shout at the Devil."
Okay, yeah.
I think that epitomizes pretty much what this is what it is, man.
No,
Right here.
no, 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 no. There's the song.
Um, yeah. What do you say about it? It's Crew, man. But
Yeah,
it's special to me because that was my first introduction to them, and I cherished it album. I listened to the shit out of it back in the day.
yeah.
As an alternate, I'd say Dr. Feelgood, that song,
Mm-hmm. It's a good
the
song.
title track.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but Shout at the Devil for me, that epitomized everything about the Crew. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff they put out latter day has not been very good. Um,
I like
yeah,
the album
and
they did
I
with
got away from them. I got away from them
Hooligans
too.
Holiday. That song. I thought that
Yeah,
album was
man,
okay. That was good.
that's a good album.
It's just like the
Yeah.
the album that Van Halen did with the other singer. Like that was I liked that album. Um, it's not Van Halen, but it's a good album. Um, no, I get it. Yeah, my two choices would have been from those same two albums. Um, I think Shout the Devil was the first album I'd heard of theirs too. I remember hearing it like when I was driving with my friend Dave after high school. We drove down to Kentucky, and that was the first time I heard like Shout the Devil and uh Paranoid, Black Sabbath. Like, wow, because I was in a good conservative Christian home where we weren't allowed to listen to secular music because that would make you go to hell. Um, so my choice from Shout the Devil is Knock 'em Dead Kid, because
Ooh,
I just really love that song. And it's
that is
again
a great.
simple fucking riff.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 it's just,
Yeah,
I get it, but it's so catchy. And I think that's
it
what
is.
makes Motley Crue appealing to a lot of people, is that the riffs are catchy and simple.
Yeah.
And they're not overly thinking it. These guys are just not overly thinking it, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Hey, three chords are all you need to make a good songs.
Right on.
And Knock 'em Dead Kid is that same way. There's nothing much to it. Um, but my other choice also probably would have been from Dr. Feelgood. It probably would have been like Kickstart My Heart or something, just because
Okay.
it's more of a
Yeah.
like a more of a heavier, like a faster tempo song. Uh, as much as I love Home Sweet Home, I probably wouldn't have picked that, only because it's not indicative of who they
Their
are.
entire style. Yeah.
Yeah, I much prefer the version. Have you ever seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Oh my God. Yeah. Motley Lue.
Motley Movie.
You I
That's like,
watched
oh
whatever you said.
fuck.
You
At the
go,
end, he's like,
you go,
yes.
Chop. You go, when you come over, I got a movie for it. And you played it for me. And I
Oh,
about
yeah,
pissed
okay.
myself down in the
Yes.
basement. Whatever.
Oh, that's right.
Like, oh my God, dude.
Yes.
I was
That
in tears about peeing myself. It was
that's a
so
fucking great
hysterical.
movie. Yeah, the Motley Lue was like, oh my God, that's that's perfect.
Yeah. He's like,
Yes.
like in the video, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Looking at the camera like, yeah. Yeah, he was great as the
Uh-huh.
Violator. He was
Oh my
just
God.
so fucking hilarious. Uh, yeah, we needed another hot tub time machine, gentlemen. Bring it
Yes,
back. So,
absolutely.
well, on the other end of the spectrum, if Motley Crue is for simple guitar riffs, let's go with a little more complicated ones. This is King Diamond. And this one actually was really hard for me to pick because I love so much of King Diamond's music.
Yes.
As we talked, we had our show with Mark Bridie,
Right.
um, and talking about, we just love King Diamond and just about
Mhm.
everything that he's done we like. So it was really hard because there's stuff from from Voodoo I really liked, and the Puppet Master is like, oh fuck. But again, the task is to pick a song that embodies the band enough to where you might intrigue someone else to listen to more. And I couldn't get any more classic than what we did, our Slugfest. I
Mhm.
picked Abigail. Abigail embodies that Diamond sound. It embodies musically everything that Diamond does, from the guitar solos, the riffs, the voice changes that he does, the range that he has, the dark thematic stuff about his
Yeah.
lyrics, the kind of brooding, kind of gothic sound. you can't get much more King Diamond than Abigail.
Great choice. I went the next album up. I went with Welcome Home.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man. That drumming intro by Mickey
Yeah.
D, that dun, 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 dun. And so that embodies, because it has that kind of classical guitar heavy experience, fused with King's vocals, which is hysterical on it. But uh yeah, it gives you a taste of what you're going to have with most of his music, in my
Hmm.
opinion. So I chose Welcome Home. As an alternate, I chose Oh, It's Halloween.
Yeah. Yes. Old school.
uh, but you know what? I almost went Montag off the Voodoo album. I almost went
One down, two
one
to
down,
go.
two to go. Yeah,
That
that's
was my
almost what I
alternate.
chose. I was
Yes.
thinking of I'm making my list last night. One down, two to go. No, but yeah, I love
Love that.
Voodoo.
Yeah, love that album. Love that song.
Mhm.
It's one of the best. It's one of his strongest albums. I think Voodoo is just consistently good. Um,
Yeah, yeah. There you go. I
nice.
think great choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
one down, two
Halloween.
to go. You used to be so beautiful, but now you're gonna
Yeah.
die. I'm like, oh yes. All right, so let's go to AC/DC. Um, what song would you pick from AC/DC to get other people interested, Mr. Chop Top?
I think the iconic song that really the album that kind of broke them in a big way here, "Highway to Hell," that title track.
Nice.
I think it embodies everything: the spirit, swagger, the kind of put my middle finger to your face kind of attitude that
Yeah.
AC/DC carries. Yeah, "Highway to Hell" kind of embodies that. I had another one I'd say as an alternate. "If You Want Blood, You Got It."
Okay. So you're going
So
Bon Scott, the old
yeah,
school.
yeah, Bon
Yeah.
Scott heavy, because that's because Highway to Hell is yeah, it's one of my favorite AC/DC albums, and I do
Yeah.
appreciate a lot of the Brian Johnson era. But yeah, man, I think Highway to Hell though that just captures the whole spirit and essence of
No,
AC/DC
I
and
get
really
it.
well.
That's a great album. Yeah, I love that song. Yeah, no, I went right down the middle of the road with this one too, because AC/DC is a band kind of like Motorhead, which we will get to in a little bit. That if you like, once you've listened to two or three songs, you know the entire catalog. They're
Right
not
on.
going to change that much. So I went with Back in Black because it is so iconic. Another iconic song between that and Highway to Hell. It's the Brian Johnson era. It's the iconic song of the Brian Johnson era as much as Highway to Hell is the Bon Scott era, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong either way because pretty much any song you pick is going to be the catalog, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. So we picked probably the two biggest songs of their catalog.
Right.
For those of you who've been living under a rock, anyone
If
don't
you
know
don't
those
know
songs.
AC/DC, yeah,
And these two songs, you will get to know AC/DC. That's all you need to know.
just turn on 104.7 any day. You'll be fine. Yes.
Um, okay. Black Crows is the next. I love Black Crows. They're going to be on tour
Me
again.
too.
I hope they're coming on tour by themselves. They
Their
were
new
opening.
album's fantastic.
I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't even
Dude,
got it
it's
yet.
like the first album. It's like the debut out. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
really? See,
fuck me. Yeah.
I don't like their first album so much. It's
Really?
because I really hate She Talks to Angels, and I think they got better as they went. I love Southern Harmony Musical Companion. And
Hmm.
I really love Amorica. I don't like Three Snakes and One Charm, but I love like
Yeah.
a couple albums they did, like Lions is fantastic. I think they're a band that just gets as they get seasoned, they just become better, you know. But my favorite track from all the time of them is Wiser Time, and that's off of Amorica. And there's a really great version on YouTube live. It says "Caution, this is a jam." It's like a 13-minute version, and
Yeah.
like 8 of those minutes is just like everyone taking turns to do solo, and I got goosebumps now. And toward the end, like you're just bawling because it's so fucking great. Yeah, Wiser Time embodies everything that the Black Crows is. It's a bluesy. It's got that really cool syncopated beat. It's got a nice cowbell. Um, and you get the harmonies. I mean, the music, the solos, everything about this band shines in this song. And if you just say, no, it's not for me, then you're not going to like the Crows. So,
Yeah.
Wiser Time.
Great choice. I almost picked that, but I went with Jealous Again,
Okay.
because I went out and I don't even think I heard anything from this before they even got big um, on the charts. And I said, "Oh, the Black Crows. I'll give it a chance." Got the cassette. I wore the shit out of it.
Wait a minute.
Love that thing.
You bought an album from a band you didn't know anything about? Wait.
Yeah,
I
yes,
must
sir.
buy this cassette.
I have my moments. Um,
Yeah.
but but no, and I fell in love with that because it had the grit, had the style of the Stones a little bit, where old faces, what other influences they wore it on their sleeves, and it's so fucking catchy, so jammy. It could have went with Twice as Hard as well, but yeah, if you, to me, you're like that, or like you said, Montag, great choice, Wiser Time. You don't like either of those, you're just not going to like the Crows. So,
Yeah,
yep,
Jealous Again's good. It's got the bluesy style that it's part of who they are. That's the southern sound. You get that Georgia sound. And that's why those first two albums, especially Southern Harmony Musical Companion, you get the gospel sound, the gospel singers.
yeah,
Like I almost picked Remedy because I love that song too.
yeah,
Remedy's
too.
phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, but but Wiser Time, yeah. Remedy would be my second choice. Because again, if you don't like it by the end of the end, you're just not gonna like the Crows. I get it.
Right
So
on.
all
Good.
right. So our next artist, even though he's not metal, he's still a fucking genius, and an amazing artist, David Bowie. Again, here's someone with a storied career, generations or decades long, with a lot of different sounds. Because he's an artist, moved way beyond just making music to art, kind of like Frank Zappa in a way. And sometimes stuff he did I really liked, sometimes I didn't like. But what would be your one song that you would get to play for someone to get them to try listen to more David Bowie?
For me, I'm not a huge Bowie fan, but for me, what I've heard, what I enjoy is Space Oddity.
Mhm.
I think that just kind of broke him, really. Broke him open I think across the globe, outside Europe. And yeah, the lyrics are really cool. It's kind of, I don't know, it's spacey, Space Oddity.
Hmm.
It's transcendent. But yeah, I'd have to say it just gives you, and it gives a good show of what's to come with David's range and how he could,
Hmm.
his unique voice. David had a unique sounding vocals, I thought. Um, and I'd say an alternate to that, let's go into '80s with "Let's Dance."
Yeah, that's a great album. That
But yeah,
was the album that actually really broke him through into popular. Like when he did that tour, he made a ton of money on that tour, did really well. That album really sold well.
yeah, I remember that. It really
Yeah,
did good.
yeah, because he had noticeable different eras. The Ziggy Stardust era,
Yeah.
then the Thin White Duke era. But I get that. My pick is a probably more obscure, not obscure album, but not and as indicative of Bowie in his style as much as him as an artist. Like I'm going to try something different, and it may not work, but I'm happy making my art. My favorite album of his is Scary Monsters because it is so fucking weird. And he even says, he didn't really recall too much about it because he was so coked up. Um, but the album or the song Ashes to Ashes. And I remember seeing that video as a kid, like where he's on a beach and he's dressed up in a clown costume with the makeup, and there's like a ballerina walking next to him, and there's a bulldozer falling behind him. Like,
Oh yeah,
what the
I,
fuck
I
is going
I
on?
recall that now that you brought it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love the album. I love that song. There's some really like mournful, like wailing qualities to it, and very kind of sad things about this song that I really love. Um, I mean, there are other songs that are fantastic that he does. There's so many beautiful songs that he's done, and I love the last album he put out. Black Star.
Yeah,
It's
there's a lot of great
heartbreaking,
things. Yeah,
heartbreaking to listen to. But you know, but yeah, Ashes to Ashes embodies, I think, the spirit of David Bowie and the fact that he's going to do things that are not always popular, not always they're on his terms. And Ashes to Ashes or Scary Monsters is just a really interesting album and indicative of its era and its sound. But he always had musicians, like when he has a band, he had usually jazz musicians because they're a lot little versatile and um you know, once he kind of left the Ziggy Stardust, the harder rock stuff, started doing more experimental stuff like the Beatles did. He often surrounded himself with jazz musicians, and so I don't know, I just love that album. So,
Great choice, man.
yeah, okay, down to just a few to go. Whew. Carcass. Ooh, Carcass.
Mm,
Uh, I would love to get Carcass on here. This is from I think one of the best metal albums of all time, but just their best album, Heartwork, Carnal Forge. I think I just love that song. Love this album. It embodies everything really great about Carcass, from the very like the speed, but also the very melodic and complex melodies that they get in all these songs, and the heaviness of the guitars and the layering. There's a sludginess of it, but it's crisp. I love the vocals. And if you go from like Heartwork to listen to like Surgical Steel, which is what, 20 years difference,
yeah,
it's like you would never know that there were 20 years between these
exactly.
albums.
Surgical
I'm like,
Steel's so good too.
yeah, I'm like, how the fuck can you sound so great 20 years later? Yeah, Carnal Forge, again, it's hard to pick like one, like the track off of Heartwork.
Yeah.
Almost picked Heartwork, but like, nope, Carnal Forge, that's one it doesn't for me.
Well, and on that note, I picked from the same album. I picked Heartwork. So,
Shocking.
right, embodies everything you want from Carcass. I'm not a truly, I get a kick out of it. I appreciate for what it is, their grindcore beginnings. But man, when they developed and matured in the sound that created this album, this masterpiece, this is where I go. This is
Yeah,
my kind of Carcass I want to hear. So,
yeah,
everything going forward from Heartwork, yeah, I'm a fan.
yeah.
There's,
Symphonies of
like I
Sickness
said,
is hard to listen to. It's
it's
really
just
too brutal. It's like early death. It's like,
yeah,
but when they become melodic, they've improved so much better as a band.
right. I mean, and Bill Steer is a fucking guitar genius. He's just unbelievable on guitar. Is some of his solo work and everything. Uh, Jeff Walker is definitely an identifiable voice. You know that's yeah. Oh, that's Carcass. You know when Jeff's singing. If I had an alternate track, I'd say check out "Dance of Ixtab" off of "Torn Arteries," their newest release.
Oh, I've not listened to that one.
Oh, you must.
I will. I will go
It's
find it.
"Torn Arteries,"
Oh, is that the one
and
with
if
the
you
piece of
need
fruit on the cover?
yeah, and
Oh,
if
okay.
you need a copy. I know someone who might have some.
If I cannot find a copy, then I will certainly consult someone who might have a copy. We'll do some
But yeah,
swapping.
yeah, but just with the hard work, what you said, Monte. I mean, what song you can throw a dart at any song on that album, right? It's
Yeah,
just a masterpiece for them. So
yeah, yeah. Great album. I get it. I get it. Well, speaking of masterpieces and throw a dart and any good song, for the most part, the next album or next artist is Dio. And we are all love big fans of Dio. And we had our Slugfest with Dio not too long ago. Um, so what is your one track to convince someone to give Dio a listen? Chop.
don't talk to strangers. Has everything you want in a Ronnie James Dio song. It's a beautiful, emotional, um, clean guitar intro. You have the fast pace, change of tempo. You have Ronnie just belting it out in so many ways, showing very his versatility with his vocal range and style. My God, the solo work on there by Vivian Campbell, the drumming. I can't say enough about this song. It is just epic in scope, and it easily covers everything you can imagine if you're looking for a Dio album. So yeah, don't talk to strangers.
Um,
I would say alternately, Last in Line would have been the other one. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. That here's a shocker. Uh, that is also my pick. Don't talk to strangers.
awesome. It's like
He because
Twinkies today.
yeah, because when he comes in, they don't because they'll only bring you down. When he hits that down, you really hear like, oh wow. Um, it's like when you hear Children of the Sea, when he comes into that forceful like ooh,
Yep.
Yes, everything. Yeah, the Vivian Campbell. I still I know why Vivian Campbell left and playing for Def Leppard. You're gonna get a lot more money. I get it, but I miss Vivian Campbell. I
Yeah.
thought like the worst guitarist he ever had. We both agree with this. Tracy G was just a shit
Uh,
guitarist.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Tracy G. You're fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Just fucking lazy.
And then you
Um,
won't even do the original solos. You change them around
yeah.
for
It's
your own
like,
because it's easier for you to
I'm
play.
too fucking lazy.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So fuck
agreed.
you.
Yeah.
Um,
We
yeah,
definitely ain't gonna have you on the show. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, maybe he's changed, but I really doubt it.
I really do. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Vivian Campbell was awesome. What There's great lineup, phenomenal lineup, and I love Vinny Appice. This drumming style is
Yeah.
it's not like it's not intricate, but it serves the music
He's a
well.
powerhouse.
He's a powerful drummer. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not a finesse drummer, and
No.
that's fine with me. I'm totally cool with that. Like Mickey D.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
there's no finesse. It's just you're fucking hitting the drums what you need to hit, and that's great. So no, I agree 100% with everything you say there. Yeah, it's just a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our next band, we got only about a half a dozen left. Our next band, one track, I think we might be in agreement here too. I'm not sure. Next band is Van Halen. And there's only one song that I think embodies everything that what makes Van Halen great. It's off the Fair Warning album. It's Unchained. It is my favorite Van Halen track. I love hearing it live. Well, at least the version that was on, I think, USA Up All Night, Don Kirshner's rock concert or something back in '81. They filmed some shows and they had it on one night. But it's a phenomenal like 4 or 5 tracks. You get to see them live in the heyday of that tour.
Hmm.
Unchained has a phenomenal riff. It's like, oh fuck, I want to play that riff, and
Hmm.
it's a hard hitting. It's everything that Van Halen was in those early days, hard hitting. Before Sammy Hagar came in and started writing "Is This Love," they were like, fuck that, it's Unchained. So, yeah, that's my pick. It's just brutal. It's fast. It's a catchy riff. It's Van Halen at the top of their game.
Well, I very close, very
You
close,
picked
but
how do I know it's love, right?
no, ain't talking about love.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
I number one, I learned that on guitar. It's a great song to play. It's a jam. Lyrically, it's heft to me. There's a nice uh where he's kind of almost David speaking and slowed down, middle of the song there, and it's like clean guitar with Eddie playing over top. I think the drumming and then the backup vocals and bass playing by Michael Anthony are stellar. So to me, that's very representative. And of course, King Edward's guitar solo in there is just outstanding, which most things he did touch. And the alternate, though, if I had to pick, would be Unchained. So yeah, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough. So doing that Roth era is, man, difficult to choose from, because a lot of that stuff is just so memorable. And you're gonna like either one of those songs. You're gonna like Van Halen, at least the Roth era. So
Yes, that's true. I agree with that one. So, um, all right. Our next band is Metal Church. We're both fans of Metal Church. What is your one track to Metal Church?
I'm going old school. I'm going off that first self-titled album, and I would say it epitomizes everything you'd want in a Metal Church song. Gods of Wrath.
Hmm.
It's such a clean kind of guitar, and it's got David Wayne going, whoa.
Great song.
It's like,
Yeah,
holy shit, when
I
that
love the
kick, you're
reverb
just
on
like,
it. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I love that. So man, it's just stellar
Yeah.
guitar work, stellar drumming. David Wayne, God rest his soul, his iconic vocals, unique vocalist, very unique sounding. And then if another one you had introduced people to, I'd say Watch the Children Pray off the
Yeah.
Dark. So
Yeah. Yeah, mine's off of that album too, Burial at Sea. Yeah, I know it's so heavy and
damn it,
chuggy and on this ship of fools, we're gonna die. It's
yeah,
like it's so moody and atmospheric, but my alternate was Gods of Wrath. Was like, that was my first choice. Like, oh, that's a really great
Nice.
song. And Watch the Children Pray. Like, no, Watch the Children Pray is it's too easy of a choice, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And it's also not, it's less indicative. It's a great song, less
Mhm.
indicative of their overall sound.
Yeah,
It's like a nice departure for the people who like metal church. Like, oh, this is a really kind of a, because it's kind of ballady in a way. It's softer, quieter.
yeah.
But I like that metal church has those sensibilities sometimes. But yeah, Burial at Sea is, that whole album is so good.
Fucking great, man.
Yeah. So
The first two, I mean, are just
yeah, I
class.
can't, you can't
Must
pick
have in
wrong.
a metalheads collection, I
Yeah,
think.
you just can't go wrong with either of those albums. So, um, yeah, there you go. Well, the next band, we're down to four left, ladies and gentlemen. This band is called Sabotage. Uh, Sabotage is another one of those bands that I remember listening to their the album, was it the Hall of the Mountain King over
Mhm.
at Dread Bulls, and really kind of thinking these guys are pretty cool. And then as they progressed, they just became so much more melodic, symphonic, writing these great epic songs. Their sound changed, and then they turned into the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, as some of you might know. But this is from one of their later albums, The Wake of Magellan. This is called Morning Sun. And I love, because what this represents to me is the epitome of what Sabotage was always trying to do. They became more refined, but they were always trying to tell story songs, concept albums, dealing with fantasy, dealing with history. I mean, they did the album, they did the rock, they did the opera, they did the album about the Sarajevo, the war in
Yeah,
Sarajevo, Dead Winter Dead. They
yep.
were always writing about these themes and huge, things. And here's the story of, Magellan, the Wake of Magellan, and the discovery of the new worlds, and like, it is such a beautiful album and majestic and triumphant. And I think, okay, Morning Sun really embodies, I think, what Sabotage was at their pinnacle of this kind of progressive melodic uh pinnacle for them. Yeah.
Good choice. Um, I'm going with Hall of the Mountain King. My all-time
Yeah.
favorite Sabotage album.
Yep.
My God, talk about a fucking nut kicker when you first
Yeah.
listen to that album. John Oliva's, oh my God. Chris Oliva, of course, rest his soul, was one of my guitar heroes. Got me really inspired to play guitar, even in the first place. And
You
yeah,
remember the video
everything.
for the Hall of
Oh
the
yeah.
Mountain King? Yeah. Yeah, that was the first, my gut reaction was Hall of the Mountain King. I'm like, yeah,
I was waiting for the midget to kick over Stonehenge, you know.
no, we're not gonna
but
fucking play
but
Stonehenge. Yeah.
but man, just everything. What a ripper. Showcases John's incredible vocal skills. Chris Oliva, his guitar work, just fucking legendary. You
Yeah.
throw anything he's on, period. And as an alternate, I would have picked By the Grace of the Witch
Oh,
from The Dungeons Are Calling, old school.
yeah,
That,
old stuff.
yeah, but man, Hall of the Mountain King just epitomizes, you go there. Let's be aware that, as you said, Montag, and I do like their growth. I do like that they did concept and they changed
Yeah,
different, um, because they experimented and went out there with it. And I appreciate that. But if you want a starting point for me, for anybody, would be Hall. So
get it. I get it. Ah, all right. Okay, the next band is a little band we like to call Motorhead. And like a few other bands like the Ramones and like AC/DC, once you've heard two, three tracks, you've heard their album or their discography. You know what this band is like. So
yeah,
finding a Motorhead song to depict their sound isn't overly difficult, but finding the right song, I'm sure it's personal taste,
that
but
was yeah.
what would be your one pick to convince someone to listen to Lemmy
Oh,
Kilmister?
Ace of Spades, baby, Ace of Spades. It's got everything in it. It's just so defiant. It's a burner. Uh, yeah, it's a fun song to play guitar wise. It's an iconic riff. I mean, anybody hears that opening, they know what's going with it.
Yeah.
Drum work's really good. Although I really had difficulty, Montag, with this one because I almost picked Chase is better than the catch
Yeah.
or Overkill for that fucking
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that tempo and that drumming. So yeah, those those would have been alternates, but Ace of Spades, man, represents. So
Yeah, that was the first song that came to my mind. I'm like, no, I can't pick that. I can't because it's too easy. It's like you're right. I agree with everything you said. It does epitomize everything Motorhead. But then there's the song I picked. The very first lyric is "I make love to mountain lions."
oh, nice.
I'm like, fuck. If that ain't Motorhead, nothing is. That's I'm so bad, baby. I don't
I
care.
don't care.
That's
Yeah.
right. Great album. I'm like, yep, yep. That's
Oh
you
yeah.
just let me like just laughing while he writes this, like tongue in cheek. He was just a guy who like, not again, you're not overthinking. He's just I just like he was like the fucking epitome of like rock star swagger without going around like having to say I'm a rock star. He just
Yeah.
oozed it because he lived it, and
Yep.
everyone just tried to emulate that. Like, no, no one's gonna touch fucking Lemmy. I am sorry. You can try, but you're trying too hard and you're gonna ape it. Nope, he didn't have to try, and that's what made him so fucking great. He just lived
Absolutely.
it and he was fucking Lemmy. And yeah, I'm so bad, baby. I don't care.
No,
It's a
no,
great riff. It's just a
yeah,
really,
my man.
really
Yeah.
catchy riff, you
It is a
know.
great.
Yeah, and I love that they were a power trio. They moved away from four-piece round down to three, make it streamlined.
Yeah.
And just what a fucking strong band. I
And what a
mean,
great album. 1916 is a great fucking
yeah,
album.
yeah. And when Mickey D joining as the drummer, I could not
Holy
pick a
yeah.
better band for Mickey. After King Diamond, there's a lot more finesse, but such a
Yeah.
great power drummer to fit in so well with them. It's like that lineup, because we've seen them several times with that lineup.
Mhm.
That's I love Motorhead. I just really do.
I
And
do too.
especially
Oh,
live. I think they're so much better as a live band than they are in the studio. They're just fucking rock and roll. They're fucking metal. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
even Lemmy said, they weren't a metal band. They're just, we are Motorhead and we play rock and roll. It's like, yeah, I get it. He's a bluesy rock and roll artist, but god damn it, I'm so bad,
And
baby.
it's some
I
of those
don't
lyrics
care.
are, if you squeeze my lizard,
I
this is
know
anything
it's
on
it's
you.
yeah, I love that. Jailbait. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like, and I love their old stuff like Capricorn.
Yeah.
I loved their live albums.
Orgasmatron. So good. Yeah.
Orgasmatron, that was the first cassette I bought.
Nice.
I saw it at a yard sale. It didn't have a cover. It was just the rock, the empty, that's the cassette, but it was
Yeah.
like 50 cents. I'm like, well, Motorhead,
Yeah.
or I had known of Motorhead because I had heard like Eat the Rich and Ace of Spades. And I'm like, well, Orgasmatron. I got to get this for 50 cents. It has great songs. We Are the Road Crew. I'm like, oh, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
this is great. Yeah, best 50 cents I ever spent. Next to that Britney Spears CD I bought for $1. That was about the second best. That was the album with Toxic, which I think is a great song.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to our last two. This is one of our favorite bands. I really appreciated being Facebook friends with the singer Bruce Corbett. For years we chatted back and forth. Super nice guy. Rigor Mortis. I remember how I got Rigor Mortis was back in Halloween of 1988. I was I won a Halloween costume contest in college, in the local like cool record store. Not the There were two record stores, and one was all like the big albums. This was the Mad Hatter, Mad
Oh,
Hatter
man,
Records
Hatter. Fuck yeah.
had
It's
all the
awesome.
cool stuff. That's where I got Rigor Mortis. Well, I won this album. It's either like you get Linda Ronstadt sings Spanish love songs or Rigor Mortis. I'm like, I'll take Rigor Mortis. Thank you. But that's also where I got Exorcist, Nightmare Theater. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. So my track for Rigor Mortis is from their self-titled album. This is Bodily Dismemberment, which I think is just so funny. With 5 easy slices, you're at 6 bloody pieces. Bodily dismemberment as passion increases. Oh, you're fucking history, bitch. It's like, okay, okay, this is great. And I included some of that song in my outgoing message, like I got an answering machine. I'm like, yeah, I gotta fucking play Rigor Mortis. I didn't get a lot of messages. I don't know why. I think people just got turned away from hearing about someone getting chopped up. I don't know. But yeah, bodily dismemberment. Although I, re- I could have picked anything from Freaks as well.
Yeah.
Freaks was my number two, which I also love that EP. So great.
Yes.
But
Love it.
anyway, Mike Scatia. phenomenal guitar player. Played with Ministry, Bruce Corbett, and fuck the stuff he did with War Beast. Jesus Christ, so good. Anyway, so there's my pick, bodily dismemberment. Chop Top, what is your pick from rigor mortis?
Well, it happens to be off the EP, and it's cattle mutilation.
Yeah,
Cattle mutilation. I just, man, I somehow rigor mortis net music is just not incredible speed and technicality of stuff, and just their unique style, Bruce's vocals, but man, just their sense of humor and to
yes,
go along with things. And
right.
that's what I think you really appreciate the band even more. They
Yeah,
don't take themselves too seriously, but at the same time, man, they put out some rippers, and it's still
yeah.
you can fucking destroy stuff to run through a wall, whatever. But yeah, cattle mutilation. I'm just
Cattle
like, yeah,
mutilation is great. You're right, because it's also got the cowbell in it.
yeah, yeah, dude, that's the thing. Again.
I'm like, oh fuck, they brought a cowbell into the song. Yes. Yeah, it's a tongue-in-cheek nature. Why am I chained in the attic? It's like all their songs. Yes, they're silly. They're funny.
An
You know,
alternate I would have picked, I would have picked off their first album, the self-titled would have been Reanimator.
yeah,
So
Reanimator's good.
Reanimator,
They brought in little
Reanimator.
sound clips,
Yeah,
from that. Yeah, I love Versus the Earth too,
me
and
too.
Rave to the Slave to the Grave is also very
Yeah,
good, and the Versus the Earth has some funny stuff on it as well. Yeah, I just love that band. I love the sound. It's a very unique sound to the where in Texas they were at, but
yeah.
I love that sound. So there's a really cool documentary about rigor mortis, and I think it's on either Prime or Tubi. So
Okay.
yeah, so I'll have to
Wow, I
go
gotta
see it.
watch that.
Yeah, yeah. So and we're down to our last band, kiddies. We added this to our list because we had to talk about this band. Because one of our favorite fans, Amber Dawn, this is, I believe, her favorite, one of her favorite bands. I know her favorite band is Voivod, but
Yeah.
she wants to go see this band. They're coming to where she lives. This band is Wasp, and so we could not refuse to add this to our list. Amber Dawn, we'd love to know your favorite song by Wasp, but Chop, what is your favorite Wasp song, or the song that gonna get someone to listen to the rest of their catalog?
Uh, it's gonna be Animal Fuck Like a Beast. And I'll say, and for me, it's like because it embodies so much because Wasp came out of the gates and nobody sounded like them. Nobody had any lyrical content like this band. They're in a dirty dozen of PMRC, and anybody that's going to stand up and take a big fucking fat right fucking swing in the PMRC self-entitled face, it's this band, and I love it. I love it for that. They
Yeah,
stuck the middle finger to the man, and they won it. You know, and it just identifies everything. Uh, the kind of lyrical writing. The very sleaze nature of them.
totally
Um,
sleaze.
but it's but it's so man, just such fucking rock and riff. It's not difficult or anything, but
No,
man, Chris
their
Holmes
lyrics,
guitar playing,
yes,
everything was yeah,
yeah. There's no melody to it. It's very simple chord riffs, but I love their sound, and they're a band that
yeah,
they changed as well. they
yeah,
they changed a couple albums after this one. They really began changing and refined their sound, but I think they got better as a band as they went, because
absolutely.
they kind of left those sleazy themes and became a
They
stronger
matured.
band. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they started writing more thematic kind of stuff and
I'd
more
say
concept albums.
post headless children
Yeah,
era.
that was like a Nexus album for them.
Yeah,
Um, Mine is because I love hearing it on the Live and the Raw album, which I just absolutely love that album. This is
me too.
They can suck me, eat me
Keep
raw.
me wrong.
This is harder, faster. I'm like, yes, harder, faster. Like, yes, let's write
Yeah,
a song like Girls. If you're gonna suck my dick, you need to do it hard and fast. No more of the slow, soft shit. I need to fuck like a beast, so harder, faster. Yeah, that's what I'm after. Come do that wicked deed. Um, I I never in my life would have ever considered writing songs like that. Like, when I was writing songs, I was making like joke songs and comedy songs. I'm all for that, but never once would I've written a song thinking that some girl's actually gonna come and want to suck my dick. And now me writing a song saying how I want it done. You know, I do parodies like Hand It To Me, you know, like that. Hand it to
Oh,
me, do it like you do me. Yeah, harder, faster. Again, all those things. It just the sleaze and the outright outrageous nature of the band at that
yeah,
time. Uh, it's just hysterical. Those are really funny songs, and I don't know
yeah,
how anyone can listen to Wasp and not just laugh their ass off because it's almost like a joke that went too far. Like, oh fuck, we got signed. We got oh shit, we better let's keep it going. And I can see the Kiss influence because Blackie Lawless wants to be Gene Simmons. He's drinking the blood and
yeah,
spilling over. He's got the big cod piece. With the buzz saw. He's obviously trying to be Kiss. I
yeah,
get it. Um, but their lyrical content, it's like where it almost makes Kiss look like poets. When they're writing songs like Illusions, like Love Gun, you know, um, like they're going, no, no, we're just going to say dick in our song. We're not even going to call it Love Gun. No, no, we just harder, faster, bitch. Suck it.
he's got
Do it
great
now. Suck it. Suck it.
expectations. Great
Purse your lips.
expectations. Yeah,
Suck me, eat me raw. It's like, wow.
it's like, hey,
Okay.
hell of a live album though.
It's a great live album.
Yeah,
I love the drum sounds. The drums sound phenomenal. That snare is great.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, Wasp. Yeah, and I know they're on tour again. I know you
yeah.
saw them last tour, and there's a
They're
lot
good.
of lip syncing going on. A lot of
Yeah,
but so did Kiss. It's like
yeah.
look, you've been in the business for 40 some years. You're just not going to have those good nights.
Armored
But
Saint though, I mean, they were phenomenal too. They were, and but yeah, I guess they got the special guest gonna be Death Angel,
oh, that's a
which is
weird.
interesting.
It's a
Yeah,
weird pairing.
right. I never
Yeah,
very distinct different styles, but
yeah, yeah. And I know there's a lot of controversy about Blackie as a person. He's very difficult to like live with and work with, and
yeah. So yeah,
it's the Blackie show. That's the only way there is. Um, I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know the
yeah.
validity of any of those
I just
rumors, but
I love their music, and yeah,
yeah, he might be a real cocksucker in life. I have no idea,
yeah.
but he'd be a fun interview. I think. I
I
don't know.
too.
He'd be cool, but you know, that was a band that did a lot of hard partying, and that's the thing. It's like, I'd never been a hard partier, so I never understood that. Like, I don't know. I saw that documentary. There was they had the guitarist, the Wasp
Oh,
guitarist.
Chris Holmes.
Yeah, and he was
Yeah,
like in his just floating in his pool, and he's had a fifth of something and was just drank the whole thing, and his mom's looking at him like watching her son like slowly drink himself to death, and
yeah.
it was kind of sad to see him just like in that
That was
state.
Metal Years: Decline of Western Civilization Part
Okay,
Two.
yeah,
X
because
Record.
he
Yeah,
just was like, and I just felt bad. It's more like I just feel sad, I'm like, man,
yeah.
but
Rough
well,
one.
anyway, harder, faster. There, I hope that was our little taste of our own medicine. We went
Mhm.
down through our entire hot seat list. And I think we're going to be doing more of this kind of thing as we go, and then maybe doing this. I think I like this concept, and I think instead of having them give us their favorite band or their favorite album by the band, maybe we can start incorporating this into
The
our
song.
interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take maybe 10. We'll do hot seat one and hot seat two. We'll take 10, like, what's your favorite album? Then like another 10 bands and like give us one song from that band to, we can mix it
Good
up.
idea.
It'll be
Yeah.
fun. So, I had a good time though.
Great time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good. So we got a lot more stuff coming for you kids. So anyway, but, hey, you can find Heavy Metal Horror Podcasts on SayingRadio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. Our Instagram page, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. If you're watching, that's where you're at. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you know someone who would like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
Chop top.
And I want you to suck me, eat me raw. This is heavy metal
Oh,
horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.